Good evening. Welcome to Secrets of the Stones. Today's episode is all about the extraordinary channels. But first, I have to discuss the 3 levels of Qi. Now, in previous videos, I have talked about how there are 3 levels of Qi. The outermost or defensive Wei Qi, the middle or nutritive Yin Qi, and the deepest source Qi, the Yuan Qi. In the past video or series I did, we talked about the water element and how certain stones, like the amorphous stones, have an influence on the water element. These amorphous stones also influence the 8 extraordinary channels. But there are other stones that influence the 8 extraordinary channels and the source Qi, and these all have one thing in common, that they have a deep and slow energetic quality. From a Western medicine perspective, the source Qi is our DNA. The Daoist practitioners believe that the DNA is a genetic unfolding of the lessons we are meant to learn in this lifetime. This curriculum is assigned from 2 different sources. Our physical attributes and emotional tendencies are inherited from our parents and ancestors, while other aspects of our personalities are said to come from the energetic dynamics of the cosmos at the time of our conception and birth. This source Qi allows the seeds of our destiny to germinate. The source Qi circulates with our essence at the deepest level of our bodies and delivers the subtle messages it contains in our hormones and other deep biochemical reactions. The source level is associated with the internal organs, the ones that support our evolutionary processes and our ability to adapt and survive. These include the kidneys, which store the essence, the gallbladder and other curious organs, such as the bones, brain, and bone marrow, which are connected to the kidneys, the triple energizer mechanism as well. Now let's discuss the triple energizer mechanism of action. The right and left kidneys communicate with each other at a point on the lower back called Ming Men, or Gate of Life, in a process known as moving Qi. It is at this Ming Men point that the dense kidney essence of the left kidney meets the Yang Qi, or Ming Men fire, of the right kidney, combusts and turns into steam. This steam ascends along the spine and is deposited by way of the triple energizer mechanism into the back shu points, the transporting points. The back shu points of the bladder meridian have a direct line of communication to the internal organs, and the bladder meridian is the kidney's paired channel. The triple energizer mechanism is guided by the kidney essence. It distributes the source Qi into the organ points necessary to support the fulfillment of our life's purpose and destiny. So whatever we hope to accomplish in our lives is contained in our source Qi, and this is distributed according to each individual's desires and what they feel their purpose is into the appropriate bladder back shu point that will give their body the energy to fulfill their destiny. I've done another video where I explain the back shu points in more detail, but beginning on the shoulder at the top is the lung point, followed by the pericardium and the heart, the diaphragm, the liver, the gallbladder, the stomach and spleen, the triple energizer, the large intestine, small intestine, and kidney back shu point. But everyone will have a different distribution of source chi into these points, according to the Daoist philosophy. So that is the triple energizer mechanism. But what does that have to do with the 8 extraordinary meridians? Well, the 8 extraordinary channels are responsible for conducting the source chi and keeping it invigorated. The 8 extraordinary channels and the organs associated with the source chi all begin in or are located in the lower abdomen, at the lower dantian, which is a qigong point. And the ability to create or let go is a requirement of life. So these are the 8 extraordinary meridians. We will begin with the ancestral vessels, the first 3, which include the Du-mai, the Ren-mai, and the Chang-mai. These 3 meridians are known as the ancestral vessels because they have a connection with our genetic history. These meridians form in utero and during early childhood, and a child born with a deformity might have a problem with one of these vessels. The penetrating vessel, or Changmai, is similar to a blueprint, or our DNA. This blueprint includes our physical characteristics and cosmic influences. The Changmai is the most fundamental channel. It is formed in utero and will continue to be influenced by our experiences until we are around 6 to 8 years old. The Changmai has several trajectories. The primary path originates in the lower abdomen, ascends the midline on either side of the Ren meridian, and enters the chest. The Changmai is also known as the Sea of Blood because it is similar to the aorta and vena cava in Western medicine. Many spiritual traditions believe this central channel energetically connects us to both heaven and earth. And here is a picture of the 3 channels of dreaming, which I don't know if you've heard of the Bon tradition of Tibetan dreaming, but in my brief look into it, the Bon tradition believes in 3 channels. The central white channel, the right and left channels, which are different for men and women. They are switched around for men and women, but interesting that these channels are said to connect us to heaven and earth. But moving back to the Chang meridian, there's a symptom of the tightness of the abdominal rectus muscle, and that would indicate a blockage in the Chang meridian channel. Blockages along the Changmai can lead to lifelong feelings of fear and inadequacy, as well as self-imposed isolation. And other symptoms might include panic attacks and heart pain, as well as physical or emotional pain in the chest. Some stones that I will be discussing in subsequent videos um, have an influence on the Chiang Mai. These include alexandrite, chrysoprase, coral, epidote, spinel, topaz, unakite, and other stones that are not source stones include amethyst and ametrine. Next, we will discuss the renmai, or conception vessel. The conception vessel is analogous to the material substance used to construct the body. The renmai uses the blueprint of the Chiang Mai to do this. The Ren meridian is fully yin. Yin is the same as substance. It provides the resources necessary for us to live our lives. The renmai travels along the midline of the front of the body, which is the yin side of the body. It begins beneath the genital region, ascends the midline, and circles the mouth. The renmai is formed during infancy when we are nursing and being nurtured by our mothers. It is the vessel that gives us the ability to bond with others. As infants, we pick up on emotional disturbances experienced by our mothers. Bonding between mother and child can sometimes be disrupted by complications at birth, which restrict or limit breastfeeding or initial bonding. The conditions surrounding the bond between mother and infant influence the development of the renmai. The disruption of the bonding process can cause problems in childhood, such as difficulty potty training, asthma, and food intolerances. And these factors can lead to a multitude of emotional difficulties later in life. Some physical symptoms attributed to the Ren meridian include hernias, fibroids, ovarian cysts, and accumulations in the lower abdomen. These symptoms represent the body's need to consolidate substance in the midst of feeling empty or inadequate. So the stones that act on the renmai include diamond, moonstone, and morganite, or clear beryl, or pink beryl. The last ancestral vessel of the three is the Du Mai, or governor meridian. The Du meridian begins beneath the tailbone and ascends the midline of the back of the body. It travels up the spine, through the neck, and into the head and brain, where it emerges at the top of the skull. It descends along the midline of the face and ends at a point between the nose and the mouth on the philtrum, where it meets the renmai. And while the renmai is yin, the dumai is fully yang. The dumai provides the energy, or yang qi, needed to assemble the material substance, or yin qi, that is used to construct our blueprint, or the Chiang Mai. And while the renmai represents our ability to find nourishment and develop relationships with others, the dumai allows us to explore the world as independent beings. The yang qi that circulates in the Du meridian provides the fire and motivation needed to find meaning and purpose in life. This process begins when, as infants lying on our stomachs, we lift our heads up to see what is in front of us. This simple motion activates the yang qi just below the neck, where the largest vertebrae is located. In acupuncture, this point is known as Du14, great hammer, or great vertebra, and is the same as C7, which is the biggest or largest vertebra in our spine. The next step is when the infant contracts his or her back, which stimulates the point on the lower back known as the Mingmen Gate, or Du4, which we have previously discussed. Situated between the kidneys, this point goes by many names and is also called Gate of Destiny, Gate of Origin, or Gate of Life. Once the yang qi is activated, it begins to circulate, and the infant learns how to crawl and then walk. Muscular or structural issues affecting the back might develop, depending on the parents' reaction to this newfound freedom. For instance, hearing an excess of no can lead to frustration and a tight back, but hearing yes too often can cause expectations of praise or reward, where they are sometimes unwarranted, which can lead to a weak back. The amount of stimulation we experience in our daily lives affects the movement of energy through the Du channel. If a child receives too much stimulation, they may develop attention deficit disorder, hyperactivity, or epilepsy in extreme cases. As adults, they may continuously seek out stimulation. Too much stimulation can cause the nerves to overfire, motivating us to do more, even if these things are considered a pain in the neck. Too little stimulation, on the other hand, can cause a lack of motivation or obsessive-compulsive disorder. And because the Du-mai moves through the brain, blockages in the channel are associated with neurological conditions and painful conditions of the muscles or skeletal system on the back and spine are related to the Du meridian. Overactive nerves can contribute to these conditions, including Parkinson's disease and seizures in extreme cases. In classical texts, these also include a loss of speech and obstruction of the throat, or B syndrome. These stones in the beryl group, such as aquamarine, emerald, and morganite, as well as heliodor, are especially important for activating the Du-mai, or governor vessel. It seems that the beryl group is very important overall. Other stones that might be helpful are meteorite, which is somewhat rare, and ruby. As we begin to stand upright and engage with the world, additional channels develop. These are the yin and yang heal and yin and yang linking channels. And these are pictured here. The yin and yang heal and yin and yang linking channels all originate around the ankles or lower legs. These channels reflect our ability to move out into the world. The yin and yang linking, or wei vessels, represent the effects of time. The yin and yang linking vessels are a measure of our life experience as well as the aging process. The yin linking vessel, or yin wei mai, represents the changes in our physical appearance as we age. The yin wei mai yin linking vessel connects blood and fluids, known as yin qi, to support the Ren meridian. While the yang wei mai represents the various activities we engage in during the course of our lives. And the yang wei mai, or yang linking vessel, links all of the wei qi in the body, the yang qi, to support the functions of the governor vessel, the du meridian. When we look back at a photo album of our lives and see the effects of aging, we are seeing the yin wei mai in action. And as we look back at our lives and our accomplishments, the activities and experiences we have had are reflected by the yang wei mai. A little bit more about the yin linking vessel, our changing appearance. The threads of our memories weave into the cloth of time. Our memories are stored in our blood. Some memories are uncomfortable to reflect on. This is a yin wei mai issue. The discomfort arises because we are stuck in a past experience. There is blood stagnation in the yin wei mai, preventing us from letting go. Blood stagnation eventually leads to blood deficiency, not because there's not enough blood, but because blood that would otherwise be nourishing the body is not reaching the extremities. This can cause all sorts of issues such as neuropathy or nerve pain, numbness, palpitations, menstrual issues, issues with the sinews, and heart pain. Treating the yin wei mai, or yin linking vessel, will help us move on from the past. But first, we must be able to articulate these unpleasant experiences. And if we cannot do this, we cannot claim ownership over our lives or receive clarity about the things that are bothering us. So the yin wei is said to act like a psychotherapist, helping us uncover the cause of our lingering discomfort. And here are some stones that act upon the yin wei mai, and they include chrysoprase, lepidolite, spinel, unakite, and the non-source stones such as azurite, green jade, pink tourmaline, obsidian, and smoky quartz. The yin wei mai represents our aging process, but the yang linking vessel represents our accomplishments. The yang linking vessel represents the things we have done. Issues surrounding self-worth are yang linking issues. People with low self-esteem are not able to take risks or make important decisions. They might not have received praise or recognition in youth, and as a consequence, they feel unworthy. Symptoms of yang linking disorders are similar to gallbladder disorders and can include alternating chills and fever or the feeling of wanting to do something but being unable to act. And you can see that the meridians paired next to each other, pictured here next to each other, look a little bit similar because they share the same pathway. And in fact, the points on the yang linking vessel are also points on the gallbladder vessel and triple energizer vessel, which is the gallbladder's paired meridian. So pain on the sides of the body, which is the pathway of the gallbladder, and the yang wei meridian can also be another indicator. of a blockage in the yang wei meridian. And with these disorders, there tends to be a disparity between above and below, where you would have a migraine headache and also weakness of the legs at the same time. But other symptoms of the yang wei linking meridian are back pain, hearing issues, and earache because of the trajectory of the gallbladder meridian, headaches, joint pain, and colds and flus with alternating chills and fever. Or just that the yang qi is controlled by, is the first qi to be affected when an exterior pathogen invades the outermost defensive qi. So you would have the colds and flus. And stones that act upon the yang wei include diopside, ruby, sugilite, snowflake obsidian, peridot, as well as tourmaline. Next is the yin and yang heel meridians, or yin and yang chao meridians, which represent our stance in the present moment. And here they are pictured next to each other. They look similar to the yin and yang linking meridians, but they have a different purpose. The yin and yang heel meridians begin to form when we start to stand and put weight on our feet. The yin and yang heel meridians represent our relationship to the present moment and to relativity, or yin and yang. The yin heel meridian, or yin chao meridian, represents how we stand up to ourselves. And the yang heel meridian, or yang chao meridian, represents how we stand up to the world, how we lift ourselves up when faced with everyday worldly events. The yin and yang heel meridians are harmonizing and regulating vessels. They govern the physiological activities that arise as a response to our thoughts, feelings, and the external environment. Yin functions might include maintenance of blood and fluid volume and pressure, glucose levels, lipid levels, and hormonal balance. And yang functions include regulation of body temperature, metabolism, heartbeat, and breath. Yin heel issues might include postpartum pain, menstrual issues, throat issues, posture and gait issues, and urinary disorders, as well as insomnia. And yang heel issues might include lower back pain or sciatica, issues with balance, shoulder and neck tension, internal wind or headaches, such as migraines or seizures, and external wind or common cold, as well as sleepiness during the day. In traditional Chinese medicine, because they control the opening and closing of the eyes, the yin and yang heel vessels are related to conditions of daytime sleepiness or somnolence and nighttime wakefulness or insomnia. The two meridians meet at the bladder 1 point known as bright eyes, which is located near the inner canthus of the eyes. This point is beneficial for establishing a connection between the two. If there is an excess in the yin heel vessel, too much yin qi will make the eyes want to close, which will cause sleepiness during the day, because there will be an excess of yin qi at the bladder 1 point. And when there is an excess of yang qi in the yang heel vessel, Too much yang qi in the eyes will cause them to stay open because there is an excess of yang qi accumulating at the yang heel point, at the meeting point of the bladder 1 meridian. And this will be more noticeable at the nighttime when yang qi is supposed to be subdued, naturally giving way to yin qi. There are a set of points known as the confluent points, which are used to regulate the qi in the extraordinary meridians. And these are listed here. For instance, the Ren and Yin heel meridians points are the lung 7 and kidney 6 point, and they are used to treat the chest, lungs, and throat. The Du meridian and the Yang heel meridian have a paired set of points known as small intestine 3 and bladder 62, which are used to treat upper back pain, neck pain, and issues with the inner eyes. The penetrating vessel and the yin linking meridian have 2 points known as spleen 4 and pericardium 6, which are used to treat palpitations and nausea or issues with the chest, heart, and stomach. And the daimai or belt vessel, which we will discuss shortly, and the yang linking vessel have 2 paired points known as gallbladder 41 and triple energizer 5 or sanjiao 5. And these 2 points are used to treat the ears and the chest and the outer eyes, or issues with eye problems too. So in the case of the yin and yang heel vessels, these points are kidney 6 and bladder 62. Kidney 6 is known as shining sea. It is the opening point of the yin heel meridian and is located on the inner ankle beneath the inner malleolus or the bone, the ankle bone, just one thumb's width below it. The bladder 62 point is the opening point of the yang heel meridian, and it is located on the opposite side of the foot, one thumb's width below the outer malleolus, the lateral malleolus. It is known as extending vessel. So to treat daytime sleepiness or somnolence, an acupuncturist might reduce the kidney 6 point in order to drain the excess yin qi from the yin heel channel, and they would reinforce the bladder 62 point to increase the yang qi in the yang heel channel. And to treat insomnia, an acupuncturist might reinforce kidney 6 to increase the yin qi in the yin heel channel, and then reduce the bladder 62 point to drain the excess yang qi from the yang heel channel. Of course, they would also include the bladder 1 point, bright eyes, which would be used to establish communication between the 2 channels so that the yin or yang qi would be directed to each of them proportionately. But coming back to the yin heel channel, this channel represents our self-image. This vessel represents how we see ourselves in relationship to life situations. And the yang heel channel represents how we see the world. All of the disappointments, inadequacies, and traumas we experience are stored in the heel vessels. And while the yin linking vessel, yin wei mai, represents our actual appearance, the yin heel vessel represents our perceived appearance or self-image. Our self-image is who we believe we are supposed to be. Self-image has also been defined as the idea one has of one's abilities, appearance, and personality. Failure to fulfill one's role in life may cause a person to develop a poor self-image. In response, we may retreat from the world. And in extreme cases, a poor self-image can lead to self-harm. The stones I will be discussing concerning the yin heal vessel in future videos include alexandrite, beryl, zircon, and hemimorphite. While the yin heal vessel represents our self-image, the yang heal vessel represents how we stand up to the world. Those who look at the world and feel the need to change it likely have an imbalance in the yang heal vessel. Involvement in political or social activities can force the yang heal vessel to engage in external matters. As a result, some might experience headaches, dizziness, or tremors. To reject the world as it is can cause symptoms of qi rebellion, which include nausea and vomiting. And incidentally, mild nausea can be relieved by applying acupressure to the pericardium 6 point, which is the confluent point of the yin linking vessel, and is located 3 fingers width below the crease of the wrist in the center of the 2 tendons. Some stones that are able to act upon the yang heal vessel include sapphire, zircon, and hemimorphite, as well as jet. Now coming to one of the most important vessels that we will discuss, and this is the belt channel, the daimai, the vessel of latency. The belt channel is known as the vessel of latency, the daimai. The belt channel circles the waist and connects the Ren, Du, and Chang meridians, as well as the 12 major meridians. The belt channel is formed via communication between the kidney gate, Mingmen, or Du 4, which is located on the lower back, on the governor meridian, and the navel point, or Ren 8, which is not used in acupuncture but is just used for moxibustion, which is located on the conception meridian. The belt channel encircles the 12 major meridians, but shares 3 points with only one of them, and these are all located on the waist, on the gallbladder meridian, which incidentally is the liver meridian's paired exterior channel. And the liver is responsible for managing the emotions. It's the most temperamental. The belt channel can be considered as the body's closet. Unresolved emotional issues are stored here. Other pathologies that have not been released are stored here as well. A closet's job is to keep things hidden. When too many clothes have accumulated, the closet starts to overflow. The belt channel is a last resort, a repository for all of the negative emotions or contaminants that we have been unable to eliminate. In the course of our lives, we encounter difficulties that cannot be dealt with. As life goes on, everyday responsibilities prevent much needed quietude and self-examination. As a result, the unconscious pathogenic thoughts linger and settle more deeply into our bodies. The belt channel is like a landfill. As long as there is room, we can keep adding to it. However, once full, it begins to overflow. One physical symptom of an overflowing belt channel is a tendency to become thicker around the waist. This becomes noticeable during middle age. As the stagnation continues, the lower region can begin to leak, causing discharge of mucus or blood, diarrhea or discharge, and in some cases, spermaturia or leukorrhea, which is caused by leakage of essence. There are other symptoms of belt vessel imbalances, including the list pictured here. And there are two ways of treating the belt vessel depending on the strength of the patient. For strong patients, draining the channel is most appropriate. So for strong patients, you can drain the pathology from the belt channel. And the stones I will be discussing in future videos include chrysoprase, larimar, carnelian, pearl, prehnite, and sugilite. For very weak or ill patients, instead of draining the channel, it is better to help the channel increase its capacity for storage, and this is known as promoting latency. The stones used to promote latency of the belt channel include beryl, peridot, stalactite, epidote, and unakite. And as an aside, if you are looking for something that will, that is not just a gemstone that will help with the fat around the belt channel, there are some exercises I've found to be effective. One is Diva Derriere by T-Tapp. This is known as T-Tapp. And the other is Calinetics. Those are pretty intense. This one is only a 10-minute exercise, but it can help. Anyway, let's move on. But I will be talking about the belt channel first, because I believe it is most important in future videos. There are, these were the 8 extra meridians, but there is one more that I would like to discuss. And this is the Baomai, or the heart-uterus meridian. The Baomai is an energetic loop that facilitates communication between the heart and the kidneys. The upper part of the loop passes through a point known as turtle dove tail, Ren 15, which can be found at the base of the sternum. The lower part of the loop passes through the governor vessel 1 point, known as Longstrong, which is directly beneath the base of the tailbone. The trajectory of the heart-uterus meridian affects the adrenal and thymus glands, and it also has an influence on the immune function as a result. This channel is strongly affected by repressed emotions resulting from deep trauma. So when a shocking or fearful event occurs, the kidney yang, which is the root of our wei qi, our defensive qi, and our immune system, responds with a surge of energy. The kidney yang qi calls upon the marrow for reinforcement. Marrow produces blood, which is needed to heal physical or emotional wounds. And even though we survive and recover from the trauma, the body still holds the memories of what has occurred. If an event of a similar nature transpires in the future, we experience the same surge of energy. Over time, this process taxes kidney yang. According to the generating cycle, in traditional Chinese medicine, the liver is the mother of the heart. And as you can see, the kidney is the mother of the liver. The liver is responsible for ensuring the smooth flow of qi and blood throughout the body. Memories of traumatic events are stored in the blood. The liver then moves the blood to the heart and distributes the memories, which are contained in the blood, to the heart. The heart circulates this blood to the kidneys by way of the heart-uterus meridian, the Baomai. If we continuously replay a traumatic event in our minds, it will cause this blood to circulate more and more sluggishly. And in previous videos, I've talked about this, but the soul of the liver is known as the Hun. The Hun is the soul that gives awareness of the past and the future. The Hun allows the history of our family and ancestors to continue through us, for good or bad. And this is why the Hun is often implicated in conditions that run in the family. One sign of heart blood stagnation is the presence of tiny dots on or near the tip of the tongue, which is the zone of the heart. Signs of liver qi stagnation would appear on the sides of the tongue, but can also include menstrual irregularities and discomfort, as well as irritability. Exercise is a great way to smooth the flow of liver qi, because liver is a wood element and craves constant movement. Bloodstone is also very important for moving blood stagnation in the heart-uterus meridian, the Baomai. Known as Ding Qi Shi, settle the will stone, it is associated with the release of fear. Well, I'm looking forward to discussing these stones and their specific applications in future videos. Like I said, I will be starting with the belt meridian, the Daimai. And I wish you all a wonderful end to the summer, and thank you for joining me once again on Secrets of the Stones.